Well, hello, tribe. I hope that everyone is doing well and doing them and doing you in the most bona fide way that you know how. In this video message, what I wanted to do was share a message of encouragement for some people that may be battling in tricky or sketchy situations or relationships, but tricky relationships where people talk about the narcissist and they talk about the gaslighting and they talk about a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily say that it is victimization or it's taking a victim role, but having self-awareness and being aware that you are being self-aware and self-accountable for how you are moving in your life. That way you can hold others accountable, because an oxymoronic behavior or hypocritical behavior is really just not a good look, right? Or it's just not a good character trait or good behaviors and character aspects to project or to practice, you know. But the thing is like always remembering that not taking up a victim role is always a good intention. Not taking up a victim role, to remain in your power and stay, self-empowered. But at the same time, when you're self-empowered, that it doesn't make you a victim to say, hey, I'm calling this out or I'm pointing this out in other people, because some people feel as though that they are they are excused to the certain standards that certain people are held to, right? And there's a lot of gaslighting going on. If you pay attention, there's a lot of gaslighting going on in relationships, a lot of no accountability, and a lot of no self-awareness, and a lot of unaccountability, as I said. So with that, people, it seems as though people don't understand that you can absolutely love somebody from afar, from a distance, right? Old school people say feeding them with a long handled spoon, right? But while feeding people with a long handled spoon, it might also look like wishing people well where they are in their lives. But people expect for people to show up for them in ways that is absolutely not fair, because people want people to absolutely to assume a victim role in a person that is absolutely powerful in their existence. They want them to surrender or to bow to them or their ways of thinking, and they want a certain type of recognition. They want a certain type of acknowledgement where they have not been held accountable for the things that they have done. They have not atoned for the things that they have done, big or small, nor have they have shown interest for the things that they have done. There's a lot of people in life that are celebrating, and while they're celebrating and they're making things look really good on the outside, they're suffering on the inside, because a lot of these people are suffering because they have not been held accountable for the things that they have done. So when a person does not celebrate a certain person, or they don't act in a certain celebratory energy with individuals that they may be estranged in relationships with, or individuals that they're not necessarily on the same wavelength as, because they're not seeing eye to eye, because there is obviously an underlying issue. It does not mean that the individual is envious or that they are jealous. You can wish a person well without wishing ill will for them, and you can love them from afar, and you can feed them with a long handled spoon. This is very doable. But those same individuals who have a right to act in a certain type of way and may not be over the top, as far as being, congratulating or celebrating or expressing certain love or acknowledgement or admiring certain individuals or congratulating people for certain successes and things. It's like, but why would they, right? Why would certain individuals go out of their way to send messages of love or sending them well wishes or celebrating people that are not doing the same for that individual, or to an individual where they know clearly that there was some type of friction there? It does not work like that. But the same individuals love to gaslight, and then they love to use the words of envy and jealousy. People loosely use a lot of words and vernacular in a lot of ways. Their vernacular is very loose with the choosing of their words, right? Because they'll say something based on an assumption. And the only thing that people should be assuming is assuming great things in their lives. But if people want to mend broken relationships and mend their broken hearts, and if people really want to be mature and to express and to embody their maturation, and they want to actually sustain relationships, to rebuild or rekindle, whatever that looks like, it's going to take people coming out of their childhood, their broken childhood ways, their unhealed child wounds and parts, and their childish, behaviors, to really stand up as a man and a woman and to say the things that need to be said, say what is really on their heart and on their chest, and stop manipulating other people, manipulating the energy, the whole gossiping thing. There is a lot of adults who are in adult age. They're in an adult age, but they operate up here mentally like a teenager or like a little kid. There is a lot of immature things that are going on. There's a lot of immature behavior, and then there's a lot of coward and dastard behavior where, I would respect a person that will tell me the honest to God truth than to sit in my face and tell me a lie to spare my feelings. But there's a lot of people that don't have the capacity or the ability to express their real feelings and say how they feel in their community, in their households, in their place of business, or wherever. It's just always like this underlying energy of a childish nature, and people wonder why humanity cannot evolve, why we can't evolve as a people, and why we can't evolve in our community spiritually. Humanity is very immature spiritually, So people have these certain expectations and standards for individuals that they didn't earn certain things, or that they have offended, they have caused offenses to certain individuals, or have done certain things that people don't like, and they have not shown that they have enough interest in addressing certain issues or rectifying certain problems and situations. So people need to stop putting themselves in a certain type of light or regard, or on a certain type of pedestal, as if people are going to be envious or jealous of them when they probably don't even have a lot that the same people that they think that are envious and jealous of have, such as the people that they know, or the people that are in their family, or just simply put, the people that they will accuse of being in this way don't want anything that they have, So no, we're not supposed to be hating on what someone else have or what they're doing. We should always wish them well, but you can silently, quietly, and in your reserved way, wish someone well and wish them the best without wishing them ill will. But just because you don't speak with them directly, or you don't celebrate them directly because you know that there might be some type of unresolved issue, doesn't make you a hater. It doesn't make you jealous or envious, right? So, there's a lot of people that are sharing messages online, and a lot of people who want to say, hey, look at me, and look at, you know, my abilities and what I can do, and look how smart I am, and look at me, I'm the expert, and if you haven't been doing this for this long, you shouldn't be able to say anything. Like, for example, there's spiritual teachers that feel like, you know, if you haven't been in a church, or if you haven't been in a mosque, or if you haven't been in a temple, or if you haven't been in a cathedral for a certain amount of time, that you shouldn't be able to share with your fellow man, your fellow woman, your brother or your sister, and send them messages of encouraging messages, or to send them messages of what you feel that they can find useful to them. You know, not saying that you're trying to take up a role of a spiritual teacher, but who knows, that could be in the divine will for you, in the divine's will. Who knows? But there are certain people who feel as though, oh, I'm in this way, and I'm in this way, and I have these credentials, and I have this certification, and I went to school for this, and I went to school for that. And they go behind the scenes and they snicker with their little friends, and they be like, get a load of this guy, get a load of this chick. There's all of these false prophets and these fake teachers that's coming online, and all these young folks, and they coming online acting like that they certified in something, and like they've done the work and they did this. They can't say nothing. Who are you kidding? You can't teach. You can't tell anybody anything. So it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of immature, and a lot of, like, you know, on the low competition, you know, hidden competition, a lot of hidden insecurity, a lot of hidden animosity. It's a lot of immature energy in the world, and you know, I call it dastardly nature, and I say, even careful to say coward ways of certain people, because I mean, I believe that those are appropriate words to use, because I don't know what other better words to use when describing certain individuals in adult ages, but they're very immature in certain type of ways, where people feel a certain type of way, but they can't say what they feel directly to a certain individual. You know, there was a day and time when I was coming up when we couldn't wait to tell someone exactly how we felt, whether we had to write it on a note, whether we had to send it in a letter, you know, obviously phone, text message, or whatever, but we were going to get the message across. And now, you know, there's a lot of spiritual psychosis going on, and then there's other type of psychosis going on, and there's a lot of other illusions, and there's a lot of people who are projecting, and they are creating, and they are manipulating people and the energy, and even trying, right? Because there's some people that are really strong-minded, and you know, they're not easy to manipulate, but there are some people that are so easy to be manipulated, and people are using, you know, I guess what they feel is, you know, their greatest abilities and talents to try to manipulate and get the message across, especially with the subliminal things. It's one thing to engage in, you know, certain subliminal content, or certain things that may express subliminals, or, you know, give subliminal messaging for like entertainment purposes. But when people are using subliminals to manipulate the energy, or just to manipulate a people, or try to manipulate an individual, that's pretty low. That's pretty low, and it actually says a lot about the character, right? But you know, as I said, humanity is very very immature. We're seeing and dealing with a very immature people, and that's the reason why we can't get a lot of the downloads and the things that we need, a lot of the disclosures, and we can't get a lot of the significant and important information that we need as a people, because humanity, in all honesty, we're just not ready for it. And I'm talking about just on a basic energetic level, or a basic communication level, because communication is one of the first most important tools. You know, like when a mother gives birth to the baby, and you know how the baby even communicates with the mother through the crying and the noises that the baby make, the way that the baby breathes, you know, different modes and ways of communication. But on a basic level, we can't even properly communicate with one another. And then people harp and talk about stuff on a basic level, but even on a worldwide planetary level, we can't even really rise to the occasion, and we can't be shown certain things, and certain information can't even be made available to us, because the fact of the matter is mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, we're not ready for it. We're absolutely not ready for it. Humanity is very immature, very underdeveloped. And this is not me trying to be mean or to try to make myself sound bigger or whatever, but this is me just being self-aware and being observant and expressing what I see and saying what the real is. This is the real hard, honest to God truth, you know? So, you know, as far as, you know, the message on the topic of celebrating people and their wins, celebrating in their glory and their achievements and their success, we absolutely should, but please do not be manipulated by people who have not been interested in coming to a resolve with you, or does not have the maturity to, you know, resolve certain situations and relations with certain people, and then turn around and say the same certain people are not showing up for them. Well, that would be an oxymoron, right? And that really wouldn't make a lot of sense now, would it? So anyways, this message was kind of deep, pretty straightforward, but I feel like it was something that really needed to be said. So I just wanted to share that, and I just wish humanity to continue to evolve in all ways that are beneficial to humanity. So may you guys stay well and stay blessed. Ashe.